scenarios, we've got that. Depth charts, we got it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is play cards and wristbands, and specifically getting plays in and out of the game. So when you're in youth football, if you're at the 6-7 level, a lot of times you're allowed to stand on the field. So the coach is sitting out there, and I take my playbook and I print the whole thing out at that level. I take a 8x11 sheet, print out the plays. Of course, they're all in color, and the kids all have little tape on their fingers or whatever, that is their color. Or guy told me one time he uses marker on their hands. I only coached that level for 1 year, so tape was my deal, and it was a pain. But the guy says he gets all colored markers and he writes on the kids their hands. He just puts a mark on their hands. I thought that was brilliant. So, but anyway, so they have their color and they have their card, and you're gonna sit there and call that play as a what we call Mighty Mike coach. Once you start getting into a higher level or different leagues, of course, you're on the sidelines, and so a lot of coaches will have their quarterback run to the sideline at the end of each play. Okay, so here comes the quarterback, and he runs over and he runs back. Well, he probably spends about 5 to 10 seconds running both ways. And then there's the exchange between the coach, where he's taking his instruction. Of course, coach is telling him everything in the world. And then the kid runs back and does his thing. So that's not a very good system for me. I like to keep them moving. The kids are, I want them to run to the line of scrimmage. I want them to, as soon as the play's over, we have them to run back to the huddle. And from a hurry-up offense perspective, from a keeping it moving perspective, that's not the best way. There's also the running the guys in with the play program, and that's a little better because you can have a guy sit. If you got two guys that are running the plays in, you can sit there with the kid on the sideline and you can run him in. So, but the younger the guys are, the more susceptible you are to a little bit of error there. And really, if you can keep that, you can't really go no huddle when that's the only thing you have. So, and if you want to go no huddle, there are times you have to go no huddle, and you can't be preparing for that during the game. You can't say, guys, we're going to go no huddle, and here's 4 plays, because if you remember earlier in this book, we talked about the guys. You could tell them to go clean up their room. They can't make it all the way up the stairs and remember what you said. So 4 plays in a row is a really good trick, unless you've got a really disciplined team. I've had some really disciplined teams, and we still struggle with more than 2 plays in a row. 2 plays in a row seems to be about the big max there, unless there may be somebody out there who knows something I don't know, but that's fine. So what I use is the play cards, and there's 2 ways to do it. So one, and I'm just going to talk about a system I used where we actually had players with fanny packs. Now the referees, they may tell you that you're illegally equipped with these things, but as long as there's no metal, a lot of metal on the thing, like big gaudy zipper metal clips. If you get plastic clips, and I actually used the Nike hand warmers last 2 seasons ago when I had some younger guys. So what we did is the guys would have the Nike hand warmers. I actually sewed off the end of one side, and you could make this easily out of an old shirt sleeve or something. But the kids would run out with an actual play card, and they were laminated, and they were like 4x3 or whatever they were. But the flankers or whatever would run out to the huddle with a laminated small play card. We had them on a keychain a lot of times, so we could just kind of flip through them. We had 2 packs or 3 packs of these little deck of play cards, and as we were sitting on the sideline, I'd flip. So I'd flip to the 21 dive card and say 21 dive, go, say this, whatever. And so the kid would run off, run into the huddle. Quarterback would hold up the play card and show everybody in the huddle, and everybody's off and running. Now I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. Some people think that, well, that's brilliant, And again, you got to clear it with the referees before the game, because if they see it during the game and you haven't told them about it, they may not understand what's happening and they may not like it. So, but other coaches, and specifically what my results were. My results were that it works great, and I think it's not so bad for the starters that play offense all the time. You got kids out there that have practiced together the whole season. They can probably know what the 21 dive is and what the 48 toss is. But when you want to get a little more complex in your offensive scheme, well, every time do you run motion? A lot of guys say, well, we don't run motion because, the guys, they all jump off sides or screw it up. They don't get set. But when you have the cards, it gives them a visual reference, and it secures in their mind they know their assignment, and so they're not all freaked out, so they don't jump off sides as much. And really, when somebody gets injured is the next thing. You know, if your guy comes out of the game, and let's say you're going to put your backup quarterback in there, he is going to be nervous. You know, a backup quarterback going into the game, unless you just got two great quarterbacks, which you've been blessed, you know, usually the second string quarterback goes in there, you're going to have a transition period. That happens at almost every level of football. For that kid to be able to have that card and hold that dang thing in his hand and look at it and see what everybody's supposed to do and be sure he knows what's going on, that takes a lot of stress out of there. You know, even the offensive linemen, you know, they can see their little blocking assignments on the card and all that, and you know, it just promotes, you know, memory, and it works very, very well. So again, the play cards, I used 4x3, I believe. I laminated the things and did the little hole punch, and I put them on a little keychain, a little tab on them or whatever. And then the guys would slide them into this little fanny pack or the little hand warmer deal, and they'd go run their play. And you know, we'd run them on and off the field like that. That works very, very well. So we didn't have to use them last year, and the less plays you have, the less you need something like that. But still, it's still a very good system. But we just went with a wristband system last year, and I know most everybody's familiar with wristbands. I thought I pulled up a picture. Nope, I didn't. I pulled up the Magnadoodle. We'll talk about the Magnadoodle in a second here. So, but a wristband, you know, you can just have the cards, write the play in there, use a numbering system. So you got 1 through 20 or whatever, and actually in the game management sheet, if I come over here, you know, the plays are numbered for us. So, you know, then you just need to devise a system for getting the number into the quarterback, whoever has the wristband. And we actually had, I think, the quarterback had a wristband, and then I had the tight end having one as well, because our tight end has they have a lot of blocking calls that they need to make based on the defense that they see. This was at the 9, 10, 11 level as well. So that's another good thing about being organized like this. You can have calls, and the guys have the thing, they can flip up their little charts and see their blocking assignments. Tight end would then talk with the tackle and the guard about, you know, on the play side, because my tight end usually was on the play side, you know, hey, what's going to happen? So, but we'd had a couple of these wrist play callers out on the field, usually 2 or 3. But anyway, if you got your plays numbered, then you're just sitting there on the sidelines. And I got a Magnadoodle, and I think I learned that from Coach Reed on the internet quite some time ago, but I really didn't start using it till maybe 2 years ago. It works great. I mean, these little gadgets that you see here on the side, these little circles or whatever, and you'll lose these things pretty quickly. But basically, you just write the number right on there. You know, so you write 1, and you hold it up in the air, and you just let the kids sit in the huddle, and they can see it from about 50 yards away. I mean, if you use the circle and just make a great big 1, we didn't have any trouble calling plays in. So the rate at which we run plays is extremely fast. And, you know, the guys run to the line of scrimmage, run the play, they all run back to the huddle. You know, I just hold up the board, the kid sees it, and he calls his play, and off they go. And boy, it really works. It really works great. If you're worried about the other coaches stealing your plays, I can tell you that it didn't happen. So I've been using this thing for a couple seasons now. Nobody has stole my place. I have heard parents and coaches from the other side screaming out what they thought the play was going to be. A lot of times they were wrong, for one, which is a great benefit. You know, a lot of times, you know, they say revenge takes its toll on the person who seeks it. So I don't know if this is exactly the same, but, you know, a lot of times trying to instruct the kids about what you perceive as the play that's coming as a coach can really be a backfire. You know, you tell them to do the wrong thing, and, you know, you've just got it wrong. And youth football is kind of a funny thing. I mean, they're making mistakes, and then you pick up on something that they should be doing, but they make a mistake and run the wrong play, goes for a touchdown. You know, so it's just a weird thing. But long story short is they really don't have the capacity, unless they've specifically assigned somebody to sit there and do a Belichick and, you know, and do that role of watching you calling your plays. They've got other things going on. They're watching their kids. They're trying to get all their guys in and out of the game. You know, they're trying to deal with the game situations so that at the youth football level, they don't steal it too much. In the event that they do, just use more than 1 number. You know, use 4 numbers, and then say, you know, if it's the first quarter, use the first number or something like that, or use 2 numbers and say we're going to go with the first number, we're going to go with the second number, you know. And you could come up with something pretty easily that would prohibit people from stealing your plays. So that's just a little bit about preparation, setting up game management sheets, using play cards and wristbands. And again, I used fanny packs to get them in there, and that makes the play calling process a lot better. And you really just want to think about, it's great if your frontline guys know the plays. And it's great if your quarterback and you have a relationship where he's a fast guy. He runs to the sidelines. It works out great. I can tell him stuff. He's real smart. Super. Kids break their legs in football. They really do. And things happen. They get sick. Their mom wants them to go to bar mitzvah. Who knows? Anything can happen in youth football when it comes to your players. And so what's your backup plan, coach? What's your, this is going to work for this kid in this situation, but what are you going to do for every kid in every situation? So just kind of think about that, and hopefully some of this stuff you might find useful as we go forward. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the Getting There chapter in just a second.